Welcome to the geopolitical show, The Chessboard, where we bring to you unadulterated information about geopolitical phenomena from all across the globe. I'm your host, Farhan, Intisher, Khaled. The intent and purpose of this show is to bring to you undiluted, unadulterated, and genuine information about geopolitical phenomena from all across the globe, as well as Bangladesh. The critical discussion for today is studying and analyzing the ever-changing nature of global security and its implication. We will also be discussing which trajectory we are following globally. And the discussion will be a very crucial and substantial one and very critical to geopolitics in general. I will not be prolonging this part of the discussion or our interview. We will be proceeding with watching a very short video for you to understand the critical compositions and substance of today's topic. Dear guests, thank you so much for being with us. Today I have with me Ambassador Iftekhar Ahmed Chowdhury. He was the foreign advisor of the caretaker government from 2007 to 2009, and he's a very, very dear person to me. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Farhan.
Of course, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm well. I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I've been wanting to bring you to my platform for a second time for a while now because I am aware that you had been present at the United Nations General Assembly session this year, and I would like for you to reflect your experience onto the show all throughout the discussion today. Sir, if you'd allow me, may I proceed with the discussion?
Yes, of course.
Of course, sir. Sir, my first question to you would be asking you about the current reality of global security. What is the nature of global security as a constant as well as an ever-changing practice? Which trajectory are we following, sir?
Well, you see, as you are aware, I've been involved with the United Nations for many years.
Of course, sir.
I've served in both Geneva, also in the Conference on Disarmament in Geneva,
yes, sir.
And United Nations in New York, their headquarters.
New York, of course, sir.
United Nations, as you are aware, came into being in order so that the tragedy of the wars
yes,
that the world experienced in the 20th century would not recur. And it went well for several years. It survived the Cold War period. And then today, well, this time, this last occasion, it was the 80th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly session. It's a different United Nations in many ways. In contemporary times, you tend to see that the interest in multilateralism of the bigger powers have greatly eroded. As a result, we are coming into a situation where it's a world which is being run by, of course, the big powers. There is the United States, there is China, to a certain extent Russia, who run the world, so to say.
Of course, sir.
But the kind of contribution that the United Nations in New York was able to make in the early years, you don't see the same at this point in time.
Yes, sir.
That is largely because of the changes in the foreign policies of the bigger powers. The bigger powers have sort of shifted the interest away from multilateralism
yes,
to relationship among themselves.
Okay, sir. Relating to that question, sir, why do you think militarization and military supremacy is becoming, rather has become, a part and parcel to foreign policy diktats by major powers. This is despite the fact that international organizations, intergovernmental organizations such as the United Nations, as well as other agencies affiliated with the UN, trying diligently to maintain peace and order in the world. Why do you think militarization is given so much priority in an age where there should be peace and security established as a general rule of thumb all across the globe?
Well, when I was doing my PhD in international relations,
yes, sir.
One of my professors, my mentor, was a man called Hedley Bull.
Yes, sir.
He had described the world as an anarchical society.
Yes, sir.
You see, the state system, the state is the highest order of civic organization in the world.
Of course.
And the states, as you know, are sovereign. The idea of the United Nations was the same as that of the League of Nations in the period between the First Great War and the Second World War, that they came together to form a body in order to reduce tensions among states. But politics is something that tends to continue, as it did beyond the Second World War as well.
Yes, sir.
We saw it during the Cold War period.
Yes, sir.
The states will maintain the military capacity.
Yes, sir.
That is for certain.
Yes, sir.
The idea of the United Nations was to put some norms and order into the relationship among states.
Yes, sir.
There are times when they succeed, when at times it doesn't. There is a Security Council which looks after political and security and military security. There is, of course, there are of course other functions of the United Nations in the area of economic development, in the areas of forming norms of commerce and trade.
Of course.
Those elements, some of them are headquartered in Geneva,
yes, sir.
are succeeding, and they are bringing much peace and succor, as you say, to the world.
Of course.
Where you may critique it for failure is the political milieu,
yes, sir.
where big power competition and competition among nations tend to continue. As a matter of fact, that is the history of human relationships between states. This will continue. The idea is that it does not run out of control. And that is what the United Nations is about.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for such an elaborate answer. And I had no idea you were an apprentice to Hedley Bull. This is this is, for me, as a graduate of international relations, it is something I truly find astonishing.
Oh,
and
I see.
Very
okay.
impressive, sir.
Okay, yes. Yes, I worked very closely with Hedley Bull.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
As I always tell you, like, you had a tremendous life, sir. Mashallah.
He was, as you know, master of Balliol at Oxford, but when he was head of the Department of International Relations at the Australian National University, that I interacted with him more.
Oh, okay, sir. So, sir, my next question is still regarding militarization. Very recently, through research, I got to learn about Japan increasing their military spending to the extent of 40%, which is unprecedented when we look back at its history of military interactions. The same was for Germany, which increased its military spending by 36%, and South Korea increased its spending by 31%. This is their declaration of increment of their military expenditure. So my question to you would be, how does Germany aside, for Japan and South Korea, of course, what threat are they perceiving, either tangible or intangible, and this increase in military spending, how that might affect peace, security, and stability in the Indo-Pacific region? Okay,
I mean, you mentioned Germany, Japan, and Korea in one breath, though.
Yes, sir.
However, they come from two different sets of circumstances.
Of course.
Germany is a member of NATO.
Yes, sir.
Germany is less involved in the Pacific.
Yes, sir.
Germany's involvement is Europe.
Europe, of course.
NATO's expenditure, NATO is in itself, as you know, comprises a military treaty.
Yes, sir.
Initially, the United States thought
Yes,
that most of the burden was shouldered by the United States.
Yes, sir.
And President Trump insisted that the costs are shared.
Yes.
And the NATO members increase their contribution.
Yes, sir.
Germany's increase in military spending
Yes,
is
sir.
largely a function of that, a result of that. So that's a different political matrix.
Yes, sir.
Whereas Pacific, Japan, as you know, always called after the Second World War,
Yes, sir.
Japan called its military self-defense forces.
Self-defense forces, yes.
I mean, it's only a semantic term,
Yes,
but
sir.
it's supposed to signal
Yes, sir.
a change in priority.
Yes, sir.
Japan was no longer interested, as it wanted to show to the world, demonstrate to the world in military adventures.
Yes, sir.
It was only interested in self-defense,
Yes, sir.
defending itself. However, as you are aware, that the Pacific is in many ways a potential flashpoint.
Of course it
that's
is, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
because of the Taiwan-China situation.
Sir, if I may interject, the reason I brought up Japan was because of the recent spat Japan's new Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi is having with the Chinese administration because of one statement where she said, rather, it was overtly indicated, not as oblique as it should have been, that were there a case of an attack on Taiwan, they would act rather as part of a global coalition, because an attack on Taiwan would be detrimental to the existence of Japan. And this is something they consider not just as a threat to Taiwan, but as a threat to themselves, which now has resulted in diplomatic skirmishes between the two countries. So, in a way, if Japan increases its expenditure, do you think the China-Japan dynamic will worsen with time?
Well, it's better that the skirmishes are diplomatic rather than military.
Of course,
I hope
sir.
it does not turn into military skirmishes.
Yes, sir.
Well, you see, this is always, as I said, it's a potential flashpoint. China is a rising power.
It is.
And certainly China will like to translate its economic, political clout into military clout. China believes that Taiwan is a part of China. Japan, of course, has a different position on it.
Of course, sir.
Japan is a part of an alliance of the United States.
Yes, sir.
As a result, they are on two sides, pitted against each other.
Yes, sir.
So potentially, this is not a very peaceful situation. And
Not in the slightest, sir.
yes, but this is a situation that will need to be managed.
Of course.
Because the international relations is basically about management of relations between states and their perceived national self-interest.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, Japan sees its self-interest differently, national self-interest differently from China. China believes that Taiwan is a part of China.
Yes,
At some point in time, China is looking to a unification with Taiwan.
Yes, sir.
Japan is obviously opposed to that.
Yes, sir.
We hope that this does not become a conflict situation between the two countries.
Of course.
And worse still, it does not become a conflict situation between the United States and China.
Of course. They have enough things to compete about and, of course, have conflicts over already. They don't need another development in skirmish. Because we will be proceeding with the conversation where I will be discussing the trade standoff the U.S. is having with China. But please, sir, continue.
Okay. You see, the great danger in that area or anywhere, any other region in the world is what has been called the Thucydides syndrome.
Yes, sir.
And you know, Thucydides, the Greek philosopher,
yes, sir.
He had famously said that when Athens grew strong, there was great fear in Sparta.
Yes.
You see, so that is it. When one power becomes very strong within a set of
Yes, sir.
powers, then fears among the other powers tend to grow.
Of course.
That also leads to sometimes misunderstandings or self-perceived understandings,
Yes, sir.
in a way that can lead to conflict.
Of course.
But Thucydides had written about the Peloponnesian War
Of course.
thousands of years ago, and he had said in those situations conflict was inevitable. In this situation, we believe humankind has evolved to an extent that they're better able to manage these conflicts, and even in a Thucydides syndrome, conflict is not inevitable.
Of course. Thank you so much, sir. My next question would be asking you about China. Sir, whether in a hypothetical situation or in reality, do you think there is a possibility of China overtaking the US militarily in any shape or form, whether it be in this decade or the next or anywhere in the foreseeable future? Do you see a perceivable reality where China as a military power, which is already very powerful, very, very powerful, and it has the largest military with reserve forces and active forces in the world. So to simplify my question without making it as complex as I do, sir, do you think that China can overtake the US in militarily?
It's a long shot at this point in time. You spoke of defense expenditures.
Yes, sir.
China's is less than 300 billions according to
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In dollar terms.
Yes, sir.
Whereas United States is
987
over
billion.
Yes, about 900 and over 980.
Yes,
so
sir.
there's a huge gap.
What about innovation, sir? They recently had a military parade where they paraded not
Yes,
just underwater drones,
Yes.
robotic dogs, and so many other manifestations,
Yes.
which was
Dongfeng 41, for instance. I mean, these are absolutely modern missiles.
Yes, sir.
China, by the way, has more ships than the United
Yes,
States,
sir.
for
Yes, sir.
starters. More ships. So you see, you cannot tell the capability
Yes, sir.
through either military expenses or even numbers. You mentioned the Chinese numbers are high. Of course, the numbers
Yes.
are high. But remember, they're trying to make their military even leaner.
Yes, sir.
Leaner but superior, but
Superior.
better.
Yes, sir.
Better. So they have more ships, etc. But the kill possibilities of the Chinese capabilities
Yes, sir.
very high.
Very high.
Chinese, for example, in air power, J-35 is equals F-35, the
Yes, sir.
United States
Yes, sir.
stealth aircraft.
Yes, sir.
They have Dongfeng, which is translated, it means east wind
East wind.
missiles.
Yes, sir.
East wind missiles, extremely capable, MIRVed, multiple independent targeted vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Dongfeng 41 would have, I'd assume, about 10 warheads, which could sort of disengage from the mother platform and aim at 10 different targets. So these are extremely high level of firepower and capability.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so but the United States is, of course, has the capacity to defend itself and build that capacity. So no one really believes that it would be rational for a power like China to take on America militarily.
Yes, sir.
for without any extremely substantive reason. And that's what deterrence is about.
Of course, sir.
Deterrence is about you deter the enemy by the threat of destroying the enemy should the enemy attack you.
Of course.
As a result, neither side attacks.
Yes,
so
sir.
we hope that this deterrence continues to remain, but underneath the high level of deterrence, there's a lot of politics that goes on, and that's what military strategy is about.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I will shift the conversation to nuclear proliferation. When talking about or referring to nuclear proliferation, we all have to highlight the 12-day war Israel had with Iran and with US intervention at the end of it. Sir, where do we stand? Where do we stand when it comes to nuclear proliferation? Are the powers, be it the US, be it the powers in Europe, which are the UK and France, and there are there have been murmurs that Israel, which it denies, however, there have been murmurs about Israel having nuclear having a nuclear arsenal, and of course the one in Pakistan. So I'm asking you about the present conditions of nuclear proliferation. Do you think that these powers I've mentioned are increasing their arsenal and developing? And I would like to add a reference where Abbas Araghchi from Iran, he said that the missiles and our repository, which the US had destroyed, was actually obsolete in nature because we have more advanced missiles, rocket systems, and other rockets and missiles in our repository, which are superior in quality as well as in number. And it was apprehensive to think about a reality where such destructive weapons of mass destruction are in a way sprouting all across the globe, and it's present in almost every single geographical area in the world when we relate it to continents. So sir, do we see a future where the nuclear proliferation ideas and actions keep on increasing?
Well, it's a very good question, but it depends on at what level you expect the answer to be. The threat does not actually necessarily come from numbers.
Yes,
as you know, a few nuclear weapons is good enough to destroy, eliminate the whole of all the big powers,
yes,
China, Russia, or America. Russia and the United States have thousands of nuclear weapons. The idea is what was the purpose of the nuclear weapon, which was originally not to use. The idea of a nuclear weapon was to deter the enemy.
Of course, sir.
You see, so initially the sort of prevalent philosophy was what they called MAD, mutually assured destruction. So you are assured that if you start the war, you will destroy yourself.
Of course.
But then something happened around 1974.
Yes,
there was the U.S. Secretary of Defense called Schlesinger,
yes,
who came up with the idea that, okay, I mean, big war is not fightable because it will destroy. However, if you make weapons which are precise, which actually lessens the collateral damage.
Yes, sir.
If you make a weapon, precision is determined by circular error probability,
yes,
CEP of weapons, which means the area within which the ordnance falls.
Yes, sir.
Now, if precision will mean less collateral damage, you can just take out the single target.
Yes, sir.
If you're able to do that, then you don't destroy the entire city or anything.
Yes, of course, of course.
So if you limit damage, then the danger is that nuclear war becomes thinkable and even winnable.
Yes, sir.
Because you are taking out specific targets. It's a function of targeting.
Yes, sir.
So therein lies the danger of what is called this limited nuclear war fighting. And it becomes possible if the weapons, the warheads, have sharpened precision,
yes,
because it means that the damage is lessened.
Yes, sir.
Which again means the propensity to use becomes greater.
Yes, sir.
You think that you have a target, you can take it out,
yes, sir,
without doing too much damage, then you will want to take it out. There are broadly two types of targets, the counter-value target and the counter-force target. Counter-value targets are cities,
yes, sir,
which have soft resistance. So it's actually that kind of warfare is really unthinkable, and that will destroy the world. Okay. However, counter-force targets are against hardened targets,
yes,
which are military installations or silos where
yes,
enemy rockets are
yes,
preserved. So that kind of thing is possible.
Yes, sir.
So one is hoping. There were a series of agreements in the earlier days when we reduced the numbers of long-range nuclear missiles,
yes, sir,
and also reduced the numbers of warheads, etc.
Yes, sir.
Platforms and warheads.
Yes, sir.
But now you mentioned other countries which have come before and acquired nuclear capability,
Yes,
Israel,
Israel.
Pakistan, etc.
Yes.
But all the conflicts that you have spoken of have been at less than nuclear levels.
Yes.
Less than nuclear levels.
Yes,
so one is hoping
Yes, sir.
that the theories of deterrence will still prevail, and if there are any conflicts, it will remain conventional or sub-conventional, which is the what you call these so-called terrorist attacks and all that sort of thing, sub-conventional warfare, which, as you know, or warfare by sub-conventional forces.
Yes.
So far conflicts have remained confined to that. Let us hope that that is so.
Yes.
But there is always a danger that these could graduate into a nuclear war.
Yes.
Nuclear war. And in a nuclear war, again, could be also tactical, which is short range, or it could be intercontinental. Or which is strategic and long range.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. That was truly enlightening. So my question would, my next and last question for this episode would still be around nuclear proliferation, and this would bring on discussions on North Korea, because we do see grandiose displays of nuclear proliferation, because every single time there is an advent of a new innovation, a new missile. There are very grand displays. Of course, Kim Jong-un is strutting down a runway. He is in all black, he's in leather, and he is actually a part of the launching process, because he makes sure that the world the world perceives North Korea as being a juggernaut, which to an extent could be debatable. However, according to some estimations, in exchange for soldiers or boots on the ground in Russia, North Korean soldiers rather, North Korea has been able to attain technology to develop their intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia. Sir, is there any truth to that? Is the Russia-North Korean relation become exclusive, which includes exchange of nuclear technology and of course, in exchange for soldiers?
Okay, we do have, as you are well aware, the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The whole idea is that there are countries which have nuclear weapons already.
Yes.
Let them keep those.
Yes,
the idea is, if other countries like ours want to develop the capacity to use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes, those countries should help us, support us, and technically assist us to do so.
Of course.
So what is actually happening is that was the grand idea around which the NPT was constructed, but that's not really what's happening. So many countries are left out on their own, like North Korea.
Yes, sir.
North Korea likes to feels that their existence, survival, depends on their capacity to defend themselves with nuclear weapons.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, one might well argue that that is what has also happened. If North Korea had not been a nuclear power, we're not very sure if there could have been a forcible union of Koreas against the wishes of the North Koreans.
Of course.
As we have seen in Germany, for instance,
sir.
which reflected the will of the German people.
Yes, sir.
So these are different things. These countries have nuclear capabilities. The only fear is that there should not be so many weapons around that that sometimes mathematically use of nuclear weapon becomes inevitable.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, they are at this point in time constrained by the NPT, of course.
Of course.
But the whole problem about non-proliferation, Farhan, is that if some people have the weapons, other people will want to have them also.
Of course.
So that is the
distinction between the haves and the have-nots.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is the same across the board in human behavior.
Yes, sir.
If I have it, you will want it.
Of course, sir.
Yeah.
Because it is relative insecurity. If you have it,
Yes.
of course, I might feel threatened to the extent that if you're not using it on me today, you might use it on
And
me.
it is
in the,
ultimate security, like
Of course.
Pakistan and Israel use it as if it's...
of course, and India has it as well, but they
Yes.
have a no first use policy. That if we are attacked, we will retaliate, but we will not use it firsthand, if, as I've been made aware, sir. Sir, thank you so much for this conversation. We will proceed with this discussion on another episode.
Can I just add something to the no first use?
Of course, sir. Please
see,
do, sir.
Usually, when there are two protagonists,
Yes, sir.
the more powerful protagonist
Yes, sir.
says that has a no first use policy.
Of course.
The weaker protagonist will not have that policy because
sir.
weaker protagonist will defend itself from the more powerful protagonist by saying that
Yes.
no, we will use it
Yes.
if we think that it is about to be used.
About
for
to be
us.
used, of course.
And we will use it first.
Yes, sir. And they do perceive themselves as being protagonists while perceiving the other as the antagonist.
Like, as you know, Pakistan has a total spectrum and nuclear response policy.
Yes, sir.
As opposed to no first use.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We will continue with this discussion. So, dear viewers, thank you so much for being with us. This is truly a mind-altering interview because, in a way, it is helping us evolve in our understanding of global security and its other perspectives. If you like this video and if you've enjoyed this discussion, please go to our Facebook as well as YouTube pages and like and subscribe respectively. This is your show. You get to make the decision. So please comment and let us know what kind of discussion you would like to see and what topics you'd like for us to discuss. Thank you so much.